Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mindtree's Post-Promotion Analytics webinar. I'm Karen Kurzweil. We want to thank you for joining us and giving us the next 30 minutes to share with you our vision and passion for getting the most value from your trade spend. When it comes to trade promotions, we want to show you how and why companies are winning with both consumers and retailers. A few quick reminders before we get started. First, we have enabled chat. This is going to be a Q&A session, so please feel free to post your questions. Given the short time frame, we're going to address those at the end. Second, we ask that you place yourself on mute to avoid any interference. Lastly, we will be recording this session, which will be available for you to replay on demand. I'm excited to have Kristi White joining us as our presenter. Kristi is Mindtree's Director of Analytics. Today, she will share her unique assessment of what is driving trade promotion success. My favorite Kristi quote is, "We see data differently," and she certainly does. Kristi is able to look at data through the manufacturer, retailer, and consumer lens and stitch together the story the data is telling. With her expertise in trade promotions, she can explain why things may or may not have gone as planned, something most companies are not currently evaluating. In brief, Kristi has worked with and delivered insights for some of the top Fortune 100 manufacturers. She leads a highly skilled team of data analysts with decades of experience in tackling the complexities of CPG data integration. Most recently, I'm proud to say that Kristi's team was awarded the Mindtree 2017 Data Visualization Award for their work on Walmart's OTIF, On Time In Full initiative. They won out over 30 international entries that were submitted across all segments of Mindtree's business. I like to kid Kristi that I'm not sure which is bigger, her passion for turtles or her passion for analytics. I think you'll quickly see her passion for understanding the data runs deep. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Kristi to get us started.
Thanks, Karen. Just a quick Mindtree at a glance to level set everybody. Mindtree is a global IT consultancy company co-headquartered in both Warren, New Jersey and Bangalore, India. 68% of our business is done in the United States. 26% is in the retail, CPG, and manufacturing space. And Cleveland, Ohio is our center of excellence for analytics and integration, focused specifically in the CPG industry, with our average mind, which is what Mindtree calls our employees, having 15 to 20 years experience with the unique nuances of CPG data and the analytics that drive value. So what makes us the experts? What do we really know about the industry? 15 to 25% of revenue is traditionally spent back on trade promotions. TPM and ERP systems, while are great and are probably cost of doing business for most CPG firms, they don't tend to speak to each other. You have different customer hierarchies. You have plan tos, ship tos, bill tos. You ship direct to customers. You ship indirectly to customers through third parties. You have product hierarchies that differ in pallets, mixed pallets, cases, mixed cases, promoted product groups, consumer UPC each. Your time periods are going to be different from your order dates and your ship dates and the requested delivery, and then promotion planning dates versus the execution date. And then metrics can differ across account teams and customers. Walmart or Target want to see things one way. Those customer teams like to support that. But as a headquarter play, how do you calculate ROI? How do you evaluate the success or failure of your promotions? Nielsen says 67% of promotions don't break even, and 22% of promotions have negative impact on revenue. There's consolidation all over the place in the retail industry and omni-channel presence, which further complicates the evaluation of trade spend. Not all trade activities are in scope for initial evaluation. Media, digital, all of the online presence may not be where you want to start. If you have nothing today, it's probably best to start somewhere and layer those in to make sure you're choosing an extensible solution. The Promotion Optimization Institute puts out an annual survey, and this 2018 update states that the biggest shortfall in trade promotion analysis is not automating the process. 63% of companies surveyed do not currently have post-event analytics capabilities. What we do see, and we would align on this, is that typically trade promotion evaluation is only at the top events, so they're saying 3 events at top 5 customers, and we do see that as well with our clients. And 92% find trade promotion analysis very burdensome. You know, all over the place, you have consolidation of retail, you're losing points of distribution. Look at Toys R Us. If you're one of the top toy manufacturers, 10% or more of your business can be this retailer. Trade plans have already been in for the year. Where are you going to make up those sales? Where does it make sense to fund the additional trade to drive the sales and close that gap that's created by them going out of business? Southeast Grocers is also closing stores. How much of an impact is that to you in the grocery channel? Where are you going to make up those points of distribution? There's always changing in the omnichannel shopping experience. A lot of grocers are adding offerings to increasingly drive consumers, to them by not only offering their brick and mortar, but services that they can order online and pick up in store. Many of those just a curb pickup, so the consumer never goes into the store. It's very similar to when gas stations started accepting pay at the pump. And what happened? The consumers weren't going in to pay for their gas and pick up other items at the convenience store. There's been rumors that there could be a merger between Target and Kroger to kind of address the Amazon presence. Will this happen? How will it impact your plans? Within 7 years, Nielsen and FMI say that Chubb said $100 billion of groceries will be purchased online. That's 70% of the industry. Target, Kroger, H-E-B, Publix, a lot of these grocers are partnering with Instacart in order to compete on the e-commerce front. On the flip side of that, Amazon purchasing Whole Foods for their brick and mortar presence, and Walmart in both places. Grocers like Albertsons are offering third-party marketplaces that they can extend digitally where manufacturer directly ships to the consumer, expanding exponentially what they can offer in the aisles. In our experience, our clients do not have a consolidated view across all channels. Trade spend's just accepted as the cost of doing business, but you don't have to continue to push the I believe button and repeat the same promotions at the same time year after year. Sure, there are promotions out there that are driving volume, and you're going to have to anniversary those, but not all promotions drive volume. So how does TradeSmart fit in? TradeSmart leverages our smart solution architecture. It automates, integrates, and harmonizes the various trade components required to accurately measure trade spend ROI. It's an automation and analytics solution that actually lets you start measuring promotion performance as the promotion is going on. It brings together promotion plans, shipments, and consumption as it relates to trade promotions. The plans could be in Excel or from your CPM systems like SAP TPM or Mantra, Siebel, Prescient. It gives you the ability to bring all of these plans together with shipments and consumption. And what gives TradeSmart the ability to accurately measure ROI for both the manufacturer as well as the retailer is bringing all this information together into one platform. We found the same things that the POI survey did. Most common, people are taking just a pulse check of a few key events in a few key retailers. If that's positive for them, they like to trend that and say that all of their events are doing well. That's a great pulse check, but it does not allow you to adjust, to drive profit, and top-line sales. As Karen mentioned before, my passion for turtles and analytics. Turtles are symbols of longevity, and our subject matter experts help you through the trade analytics journey, sharing best practices. We don't abandon you. We help you get the most value from the data you put in and leveraging the volumes of information you'll get back through. So it's not a replace your analytics team with automation. We've seen clients benefit by seeing 100% coverage on what was shipped and up to 100% coverage of promotions based on what consumption data that's available to them. Some spaces, there's some gaps in the consumption data. TradeSmart is a rule-based system that allows for a streamlined process where all your ROI calculations are consistent and accurate across all retail teams. It allows for visibility for non-compliant events. So a lot of times you pay the retailer to execute a specific time, and you can watch to see, are they executing the price point as agreed to? Are they putting up the incremental displays? Did they leave it up for the week or the time period? Did they start on time, end on time? Are they being compliant and leveraging the money you're passing to them to pass along to the consumer, or are they margin padding? We'll integrate your internal spending and the retailer point of sale to compute the customer event profitability for both of you. And you look through the sell-through, really the off-take, to eliminate that margin grab. Make sure the consumer, you're really driving off-take. Provide customer event level scorecards, incorporates cannibalization, halo, and pantry loading, as long as forward buy calculations pre-built into the platform. Uses clustering analysis to identify best and worst performing events and what's causing that. And it compares performance and helps reallocate spend across accounts, products, and tactics. A lot of times we hear from clients that they have incremental trade funds that they are able to apply. And instead of just giving them to Walmart, it might be your number one customer, where's the best place to invest that money, what category, what retailer, to get the results that you're looking for to drive your top line sales profitably. We have the data models and best practices that provide you with accelerators to drive sales and profit with your trade dollars. The TradeSmart Foundation is an open architecture. It's database independent and can reside on any database platform. Just an example of data sources here with consumption from syndicated providers, as well as point of sale data, master data, trade plans, cost of goods sold, shipments, baseline, other data. Some folks are putting market track and image data into the database. On a nightly basis, Blue Sky Integration Studio looks for new data, harmonizes, stages, and aligns that data, and has that ready for the business user to use. Any of the pre-built reports that are scheduled on the system are run and cached, so the user just comes in the morning and opens the reports. We have alerts that are set so that you can see what's complying and what's not complying. And in addition to the pre-built reports, it allows the heavy users to go ahead and create new reports. Our data model can handle multiple feeds from syndicated data providers. There's multiple category databases. That's not uncommon for us to integrate 7, 8, 9 different syndicated databases into one conformed view. So it enables trade event, post-event analytics across the entire enterprise. The solid architecture, and there's flexible options with that. You can have it both in-house, behind your firewall, residing on any database, whatever you already have. We can source and target any database, and it supports virtually any business intelligence tool. We can also manage it here in our cloud environment or virtually in the cloud for you. So open architecture and open database platform. So now let's get into some case studies. Because everybody's really what I like to talk about, not necessarily the architecture, but what are people seeing from this? Our first case study today is from a refrigerated and shelf-stable manufacturer playing across several categories. Their biggest challenge was that every retailer had their own promoted product group, so analysis, when they were able to do it, was very confusing as to what was included and what was not included. Their trade plans were in a series of Excel files, made it very difficult to look at spend across a retailer for all categories, or even across pack sizes within the same brand. We worked with their trade management and IT solutions team and built a solution behind their firewall in their environment. Our team set up, trained, and supported the cutover to help these folks take it from doing things manually, the small solution set, a couple of events and a couple of key retailers, to 90% coverage of their trade dollar spend. We integrated the syndicated data at the weekly level with their internal master data trade plans, and shipments. This automation saved them over 40,000 man-hours annually. They now have a fully automated post-event analytics solution with consistent KPIs across all customers instead of each customer team creating their own metrics. They used to rely on a pulse check for the few areas where they could look at ROI and learned that this was not enough. There were several instances where retailers were not passing savings on to the consumer and they were getting no lift for their investment. They were able to cease those and reinvest that money into profitable events that drove volume. They were also able to see how various promotions of different product sizes in the same brands were impacting sales of the overall brand. Sometimes promoting all sizes in the same weeks were cannibalizing their own sales. Our next case study today is from a large food manufacturer with products covering 9 different categories. We created an archive for their syndicated data. So they were getting data from 9 different syndicated databases. Again, those are great sources, had themselves plus the competition in there. They were always able to get the last 104 weeks. Never, a lot of spend went into gathering that information. And so archiving that data so they could look across time and do, how are their brand favorites performing, that they're running every single year. Without just looking at this year versus last year, they were able to start archiving and looking at how the performance was was going over time. Were we seeing consumers kind of leaving their products, or were they building the following they were looking for? This client's biggest challenge was integrating all the data and making analysis available in one central accessible place for the other teams to use. We worked with trade marketing analytics and the IT solutions team to build a solution behind their firewall. We developed customized training material that showed them the old as-is capabilities of what they had been doing in a spreadsheet and the new as-is capabilities, which were the automated as-was process and the expanded insights they couldn't even imagine while they were kind of building this in spreadsheet hell, if you will. We married trade plans with shipments, cost of goods sold, consumption from multiple databases, and multiple customer and product hierarchies. Again, here, they were able to look at their sales customer hierarchy, which may have been different than their regional sales hierarchy. So with automating this and being able to put in multiple customer and item hierarchies, they were able to, with quick filter, switch back and forth between views of how they were performing. Are my promotions doing better on in the West region versus the East versus Central? How am I doing in specific retailers across the board and within those retailers regionally? We set ROI thresholds for each retailer and category and pushed alerts to the trade analysts for any events that fell below the threshold. The analysis enabled retailers with consumption data as well as those without. So those that did not provide consumption information, we looked at ship frequency and the average size of shipment and overlaid that with the promotional offer to identify where retailers were taking advantage of opportunistic buys, margin loading, and not passing that off to the ultimate consumer. And even without consumption, you can do that through our algorithms. This helped them in their joint business planning discussions with the retailers about how much they would allow them to take on any given promotion. So what's the opportunistic amount, quantity that you can buy in order to support this trade event? Those that were getting consumption, they were then looking at both their internal ROI as well as the retailer's ROI, enabling those discussions to let them know where they were finding win-win scenarios, because the retailer is not going to repeat something that they're not winning on. We're looking at this particular manufacturer's product as well as the rest of the competition in the category. So if it was good for them, but it didn't drive the category or help the retailer, it would not be something that the retailer would want to continue to fund and support year after year. We also created an event level a brand level, and a time series reporting view, which showed how the products cannibalized and complement each other, as well as over time, what percentage of the total business was done on promotion versus regular price. We leveraged a tool here where everything went in as equivalized volume. That analysis then for cross-retailer leveled the playing field on the product pack sizes and volume that's done, so you can see the ROI equivalized across the board. That way, any incremental trade funds, they were able to pinpoint where and what they should apply those to get the most return on investment. This project took 6 months from start to finish, with categories coming online within the first 3 months, and then additional categories being brought on up till that 6-point point. In the first year, they realized a 1% gain in profit and 6% in sales. We called them sandbaggers at first because, you know, in this industry, you're used to seeing very anemic growth rates, and by reinvesting where it wasn't working and reinvesting in places where trade was working for them, they were able to see significant increase in sales. When you stop funding what's not growing, you'll be amazed at how much you can get for that. Our last case study today is from a frozen foods manufacturer. Their challenge was they had a lot of missing data in their trade planning system. There wasn't a lot of data governance around entering retail execution dates. So their sales team was really good about putting trade plans in place, but not about filling in the entire information set to help them marry consumption to trade plan. So we were able to fill in those missing data points by leveraging our algorithms and identifying when products were most likely on promotion. Another challenge for this manufacturer was data governance related. They were allowed to plan at multiple levels of the customer hierarchy. So instead of planning at a total off-hold level or Stop and Shop New England or Stop and Shop New York level, they might plan at total off-hold, and that could include Stop and Shop New York. They could plan at a distributor that would go to ship into Ahold, and then they could plan to Stop and Shop New York as well. And so we had to get all of the plans down to the lowest level of granularity. And in their planning data, it wasn't abundantly obvious what level. Through our algorithms and through the business rules that were implemented, we were able to fix that data and really help them marry up what their plan was all the way to consumption so that they could see what the list was on promotion. We built this all the way down to the UPC level. It increased their ability to analyze trade spend from a few key events in their top account to over 97% of their trade dollars they now had coverage to look at ROI on. They're applying consistent ROI measures as an organization. And with these folks, you know, they didn't just get the raw data feeds from the syndicated providers. They were downloading Excel files with the additive and non-additive measures from the syndicated provider, and we married that together with their shipments, trade plans, and market track data to build this post-event analytics solution for them. One major milestone for them was agreeing and aligning on the KPIs across all retailers to have one corporate view and no longer having cottage industries for each account team determining how they were going to calculate things. And a big win is correcting that trade plan data by adjusting the retail execution dates after marrying that up with the consumption. We worked with the revenue growth management team and the IT team to build this behind their firewall. All 3 clients in today's case studies achieved greater retail coverage, automated and streamlined efficiencies across all retailers, accurate promotion ROI analysis. One was even leveraging the alerting, and the improved joint business planning with retailers due to the increased insight on their trade spend. We'll open it up for questions.
we're going to take these last 2 minutes. If you have any questions that you did not have a chance to post yet into the chat, you can go ahead and do that. We do have a couple questions here that we'll get started with. I have a question here from Cheryl asking, how do we handle hybrid promotions?
So hybrid promotions, I'm assuming Cheryl means both EDLP promotions as well as high-low. It's kind of a nuance and something that's accepted. You either have retailers that are EDLP or high-low, and then if they're not really getting their margin once they've switched to, or their sales objectives once they switch to EDLP, they go ahead and layer in some high-low promotions at the same time. You have to add spend for both of those. So that high-low week, you cannot exclude what you're already spending for EDLP. So we do have a way to handle those hybrid events where the incremental volume from the high-low is also going to have that EDLP spend associated with it.
Thanks, Kristi. We have a question here from Dan as well. Thanks for joining us, Dan. His question is, as the process is automated, how are trade teams being impacted?
You know, that's always a good fear to have is, goodness, if we automate everything, what will we do? You know, if you're currently spending so much time kind of rubbing two sticks together and able to analyze maybe your top events and your top retailers, once this entire process is automated, think about the volumes of insights that you can mine for and the decisions you can help your organization make. You know, looking at patterns, maybe the mass channel is trending down in a certain package size and you want to pull back funding for that, where maybe the drug channel is really revving up for you. And looking at how all of these things are playing and interacting really in this omni-channel world that we live in. The shopper is everywhere. So understanding where best to fund and where to defund is great. And nobody got into analytics to break down data and kind of massage it into spreadsheets. Once this is automated, there's still a significant amount of work to bring insight and make business decisions to drive volume for you.
Okay, we have another question here from Jim. Thank you, Jim, asking, can the solution be hosted in the cloud, and how is baseline being calculated?
So yes, the solution can be hosted in the cloud. The 3 case studies that I shared today, they all had them behind their firewall, but we did the entire implementation. We can put it in our cloud or in our data center here, or if the client wants it in their own cloud. We're very flexible. And as far as baseline goes, there's so many different ways. First of all, baseline is critical because you're looking at incremental towards your ROI calculations. So whether you accept what the syndicated data providers give you for baseline, or if you are using another tool to calculate baseline, or if you want to use ours, we do that every day throughout our entire process where we're calculating baseline for you so that you can determine what you're getting above and beyond that and what's the return for your investment.
Okay, I know we are running close on time here, so any further questions you can direct to myself or to Kristi, and we will get back to you with specific answers. I wanted to thank you again and thank Kristi and everyone for listening in. We appreciate your attention, and we will share those question and answers with you via email. If you are interested in seeing a full demo of the TradeSmart solution, please contact me and I'll be happy to schedule a follow-up one-on-one session for you or your team. And we wanted to thank everyone for your time today and invite you to follow our Relational Solutions Mindtree training blog by going to our website at relationalsolutions.com and clicking on resources. We regularly post updates and industry information on LinkedIn under the Demand Signal repository. You can also stay connected with us by following us on Twitter and Facebook. You're welcome to call myself or Kristi with your comments and questions. And of course, we welcome your feedback as we look to continue sharing this educational type of format and to keep open these Q&A sessions with you in the future. We look forward to hearing from you, and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.